Welcome to episode 23 of the Sober Stretch podcast, the podcast for anyone with a problematic, complicated relationship with alcohol, whether you think you may be an alcoholic, grey area drinking is affecting your life. We are the podcast for you. I'm Gary. My co-host is Craig. I'm 10 years sober. Craig is 2. Here we are. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. You?
I'm all right, yeah. I'm glad Halloween's over.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
fucking hate
same.
all that shit.
Same.
I really try for the kids, but and I obviously do make an effort to enjoy it and stuff. But yeah, I don't know any I've never been into celebrations of any description, really. I don't know why.
I think if I had kids, I'd like to take them trick or treating and that. But for me, I mean, Halloween's not the. I mean, it was the anniversary of my mate's death, so it's not the best day for me. To be fair, I
Right, so it was
don't
on
like
that day.
dressing up as a fucking ghost.
Yeah. It'll it'll be a strange date for you forever, really. But is what it is.
Yeah. So today we're gonna. I feel like this is the biggest, maybe not the biggest, but I feel like this is a fucking huge topic, and it's really the effects drinking has on your mental health, and maybe a bit broader, just mental illnesses in as a whole, really, and why drinking is not a good idea. It's not good medication for it.
No, it's certainly not, and you are quite literally self-medicating. Do you know what? I think the big thing that stands out for me when I think about my drinking and my mental health was that all the mental health issues I thought I had were all connected to drinking.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've since discovered ADHD and all that. Therefore, it's in that I've got ADHD and it's intertwined. 95% of the shit that I was going through is all because of the drinking.
Yeah. I feel like I think you probably, and me, because of ADHD, probably drunk more because of that. Because it slows you right down, doesn't it? Slows everything down, slows your mind down, less racing thoughts and stuff like that. But it's funny because I done it as well. I remember I went to the doctors when I was. So I've had anxiety. Does that make me less of a man? For about 20. How many years? Maybe over 10 years. Yeah, definitely over 10 years. And the first time I went to the doctor, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And the first time I had it was on a hangover. Couldn't even talk to the doctor because I was literally like a shaking, quivering wreck. And I'd be like, is it this? Is this what's doing it? Is it because of my childhood? Not that I even had a bad childhood, a great childhood. Literally went through fucking everything, but refused to blame booze.
Yeah.
But the only time I'd really get severe anxiety was after a session.
There you go. But after a session, but also the weekly drinking, you know, the necessity drinking that you and I both did, means there is no escape, really, is there? There's never any refreshing of the soul or getting rid of the toxins over a few days. If you drink every day and then heavily, maybe 3 or 4 days of the week as well, you're on a hiding to nothing. Your mental health guaranteed will be fucked.
Yeah. We've said this before. It's a no-brainer. You're literally drinking a bottle of depressant. Of course you're going to feel fucking depressed after, or anxious. And for people like me and you, because there was no break, because we couldn't handle it, could we? Couldn't handle the feeling without it. So drink, and try. The game of the game was to try and never let the anxiety get in.
Yeah, that's true.
As soon as it started creeping in, I must need a drink.
Yeah, because it's
gone.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say a couple of beers, and then it's gone. It's literally like a fire extinguisher putting out a fire. That is how I thought of it. But
I love that.
That's why I was fucking drinking at silly o'clock in the morning, man. Like, it's, and especially when you're when you're with people and you've got to have a drink in the morning because you're
Yeah.
anxious after a heavy session. They're like, Jesus, this geezer's hardcore. I'm like,
Yeah.
I fucking need it. Otherwise, I'm going to have a panic attack.
The fire extinguisher analogy is perfect. It's like a weapon to your the alcohol's a weapon to kill off the anxiety, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the cure and the cause, isn't it? So it causes it, but it's also the cure. That's why I think it's so difficult for people to fucking shake.
Yeah, it's a riddle to unpack, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Like, can you describe your daily mental health when you were at the peak of your drinking? Like, what was a typical day like for you? Because maybe if we talk about that, people will go, "Oh, I can relate to that." Maybe perhaps it's the drink that's affecting me.
Yeah. 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 So basically, I didn't have any ambition whatsoever. I didn't have any drive. My only mission was to get drunk. That is literally all I wanted to do. When I didn't drink or when I couldn't drink, I would be mangled. My head would be, there would be so many thoughts all at once that it would be absolutely impossible to pinpoint one thought. It was just fucked. It was as if like my brain was exploding
Mhm.
or going to explode. And I was just so fucking anxious. I'd have panic attacks all the fucking time. I'd feel like I was losing my mind. I'd be like, got this, that, and the other mental problem. Honestly, like sometimes I literally would think I'm losing the fucking plot. I am losing my mind. And then as soon as I had a few drinks, I was brand new. Literally 3 pints, brand new. All my problems disappeared, and I could think again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because the clarity of thought when you are like recovering or just waking up from it, it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah,
And obviously, maybe we're at the extreme end of the spectrum, but
100%.
to get sober, you need to have clarity to think, and you can't do that with daily drinking. It's impossible. I remember the waking up, just wanting to die. Not every day, but just waking up thinking, what is the point of my existence?
100%. I agree.
We've spoken about this privately before. It was I didn't see any reason to live
Yeah.
regarding ambitions, goals,
Yeah.
leaving a legacy, impacting people, looking after myself. None of it mattered. Like you say, all that mattered was nipping the anxiety and the misery in the bud as quickly as possible through drink.
It sounds deep. I know what you're saying. You're not saying you was ultimately suicidal. Maybe you wasn't at that point, but really, I didn't give a fuck if I died tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. Well, I think it gets to that point, doesn't it? Your mental health suffers so badly that you're kind of indifferent and aloof to living. You're like, well,
But every
if
day is a
something happened,
struggle,
it would take me out of this hellhole.
mate. Every day is a struggle.
Yeah.
You wake up and think, how the fuck am I going to get through today? Every single day, I was like that. How am I going to get through work? Like, this day is going to be so long. I fucking hate work. I hate this. I hate this life. The most depressing fucker in the world, mate. I know how I'll get through it. I'll have a few drinks in the morning before work. I'll have a, I'll have, I'll neck 3 pints on lunch, and hopefully that will see me through.
Mm. Yeah. Hard relate, mate. Hard relate.
And that's what it was. And every day was so fucking tough, especially when funds get fucking low,
Oh,
spending a
mate.
lot of money, and when you're worrying about how you're going to be able to afford the drink, shit gets real dark there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's bizarrely enough, it's not my main concern financially was I don't have enough money to drink. I can't buy beer today, or I can't get my hands on anything because I don't have any money. It wasn't your your financial state is in tatters. How are you going to pay rent? How are you going
No.
to pay that bill off? I didn't think like that. I thought, my God, I'm going to run out of money after 10 days, 6 days. 9 days after payday, and then how the fuck am I going to self-medicate?
Mate, I can feel your fear. I can feel the fear.
I'm so glad we have got this podcast, because I've never met anyone that relates to it all.
Bro,
I never will, I don't think. It's unbelievable.
mate, I know this ain't about financial status or anything like that, and I'm not exactly the most wealthy people in the world now, like far from it. But I'm still paying off debt now from when I was like that. I know it's only been 2 years, but I've got fucking CCJs and everything from drinking, because I did not give a fuck about bills. Hence why I lived in a halfway house for a little bit. I couldn't get a phone contract because I had Vodafone like 600 quid and they cut me off.
Oh, mate, we've had the same life.
Honestly, I couldn't pay nothing. And honestly, I did not give a fuck. I would cancel my direct debits just before it was due to come out, so it didn't take all my drinking money.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, we're laughing. Just, we often laugh about the whole pathetic nature of it all, or the depressing
yeah,
nature of it all. But I mean,
it's
10 years later, I'm still, you know, affected by my financial plight through drinking. It also didn't help that I left the country for a period of time and then came back to, you know, almost like I hadn't existed here for a while. But yeah, I'm still feeling the pinch in some ways. And it's just not, it's that when you're not able to, how can you have a fulfilling life if your main concern on payday is shit, this is only going to last for 5 days. How am I going to cope?
yeah,
Unbelievable way to live.
yeah,
Awful.
yeah. But
Depressing as fuck, mate.
bro, I'd argue with my bosses about my pay and stuff like that. Say I was due to get, say I hit bonus and I was due to get, because I was in sales and I was due to get, I don't know, say I was meant to get a grand bonus or something. Money was all right, but all that bonus is gone because I fucking six days. Do you know what I mean? So then I'm stressing straight away at the start of the month, thinking this is only going to get me through 2 fucking weekends.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And then that just sets off panic. Your head, the feeling that I would feel, my head would just go warm and hot, and it would get boiling to the point where I think I'm going to literally blow up.
Yeah.
And then what do? Go to the shop or go to the pub, have a drink, and I would completely stop thinking about it. And I'd be like, right, I'm in the here and now. Let's just get drunk, get fucked, and wake up tomorrow and think, I didn't deal with them problems yesterday. I didn't come up with a solution. Let's do the same thing.
Yeah, again, because you can't think that you've got two thinking states when you're like that. You are in panic mode about the state of your finances, your life, and then you're in financial panic mode about not having enough to drink, or you're just so pissed or on the way to being pissed that you're not thinking with any kind of clarity at any stage of your life, really. You know, I always wanted to, move up in my career and maybe, move away from the current job. Writing a CV was impossible. I couldn't sit down and concentrate because I was too busy thinking about other major problems that had all come from drinking. So here's me going, oh man, I'm 26, had all these dreams and aspirations. I had such a great childhood and education, and I can't get unstuck. And then the mental health drama of your life, just like it's like a blanket
Yeah.
wrapping around you, isn't it? Constant misery.
You're getting overwhelmed by writing a CV.
Yeah, mate.
Bro,
Overwhelmed by anything.
overwhelmed by just adding or just editing your CV, adding in a new job that you've had for 2 months.
Insane. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you'd put it off, wouldn't you? Put it off, and then nothing ever gets done because everything is too overwhelming.
But there you are thinking, why is my life like this? Still questioning why, wondering why your mental health is in bits. But if you're listening, I always say that. If you're listening to this, obviously you're fucking listening to it. Whoever's listening to this right now, if you can relate to it, it's the booze. It's the booze that's, you know, taking a machete to your mental health. You wonder,
One.
like, all the older generations of men that just drank heavily, you know, from
Mm.
way back, who were the strong, silent types. Were they? Because, you know, when you were younger, you always used to look at guys in their 40s, 50s. I did anyway, in the pub, that were like heavy drinkers, and used to think that they had like a stoicism to them and a resilience. They looked like tough men.
Yeah.
But what is underneath that, you know? And then I started to realize as I got older, I am done. I can't get through this. But why can't I? Because these guys in the pub seem to have it all together. They're so strong. And
Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's after 6 pints. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not slating anyone at all. But these tough, strong man's man, you know, them ones, they 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 still go home alone
Mhm.
in some cases, and they still get in that fetal position, mate, in the morning.
Yeah, the
And
Gary fetal position.
they still it's I'm not even laughing. It's fucking serious. But
The fetal position is a comment that I made some months ago, isn't it? That if you listen to, so you'll be able to remember. But yeah, the fetal position. But these men also take their own lives.
yeah, well, exactly this false mentality of acting up, giving it the big one in the pub, blah blah blah, because they feel like they have to show this image, and they don't want to feel that. They don't want to have like certain thoughts or feel like they're less of a man, and they don't want to talk about the fact that they're fucking skint and they've got money problems and their bird wants to leave them. So you don't, like you said, you don't see none of that, and it's fucking sad, really, because drink is just going to make everything so much worse. And that's another thing that I wanted to say as well, is for people that so for people that have got normal stresses in life, because as humans I've worked out and realised that we're always going to have a stress in our life. There's always going to be a time where there is something. You're not going to have complete bliss for months and months and months. There's always going to be something, whether it's your health, whether your health gets better and then a financial problem comes up and stings you in the arse, or that financial situation gets sorted out and then you've got a relationship issue, your bird's left you. There's always going to be something, and that's just part of life. We need to accept that. Why would you say that the best idea is not to go to the pub? Do you know what I mean? Why should people not do that?
You
Because
mean
it's a temporary
someone
fix.
that's already has an existing mental health issue, or do you mean guys
Or a
that?
problem, a stress in life, anything like that.
Well, you know, there's the fire extinguisher idea about that you've said about eliminating the anxiety, but it's also petrol, isn't it? Exacerbating the fire, and the fire will never go out. The fire will never go out until you stop drinking. So the pub is the easy option. The pub is the known option. It's a known quantity. But people are frightened to get sober. It's scary to get the idea of getting sober is scary.
So for people that have got a lot of stress going on in their life, say for an example, this is a common one, yeah. Their bird's just left them. Their skin, she's taking the kids, blah blah blah. Why should they not go to the pub, and what would be a better way to deal with it?
Well,
Just a
if the
counsellor.
Miss sober. I mean, first of all, it's actually like we discussed earlier. It's hard to realise that the booze is the problem. So that familiarity of going to the pub, it's almost like ingrained in you, isn't it? You just walk there.
Yeah.
It's second nature.
Without thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's all you know. It's your comfort blanket. It's your medicine. It's everything. And why should someone not go to the pub? well, how much worse do you want your problems to get? You know, life is life, and the problems will come like baseballs at your head. There's no
Yeah.
getting away from that. And I didn't know that when I was in early 20s. I just thought that people people that get their shit together have good lives. That's not true. You know, wealthy, successful people take their own lives, are miserable as fuck. You know, trust fund kids are fucked up beyond recognition. It's time. There has to come a point where you go, okay, the alcohol's only making it worse. But I
Yeah.
sometimes think it's impossible for people to see.
No, I agree. I agree. I just think when you deep it, you see all this stuff online about 75% of suicide men, yeah, or males, and it's the biggest killer in men. Is it under 30, 35, something like that? And alcohol aside, people need to start dealing with their problems properly instead of self-medicating with booze, because they start drinking and doing drugs, and then the problem gets worse and worse and worse, and it snowballs, and then they do silly things like
Mm-hmm.
top themselves. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying top themselves like it's willy-nilly, but it's obviously a serious fucking thing,
Yeah,
and far too many people are going because of it. Booze and drugs is certainly not the way to do it. I think so many people do it, and including me and you, I'm sure, is because it is such a quick fix.
yeah,
It's so quick. Literally, I don't know, you could be crying all night, have no sleep, feel stressed out your fucking mind, and feel like shit, or you could just have 3 pints and not feel like that. That's why I think it is so easy for people to do it. And
yeah.
that's what
And nowadays that can be like 6 quid. 6 quid's the solution. You can go and get 4 pint cans of Stella and drink them in an hour and a half, for 2 hours at home, and you've instantly negated the feelings of stress, anxiety, and sadness.
exactly.
But it's not that you just take away the sadness and the stress and anxiety. It's that you go from down to up so quickly.
Yes.
You know, and that's unsustainable in itself. Up, down, up, down, up, down. You know, the beauty for me in sobriety is that life is more like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because them downs, the more you drink, them downs get proper fucking low, don't they?
Oh
Proper
yeah,
fucking low. And life, you always, like I said, you're always going to have something that upsets you, or stresses you out, or makes you feel like fucking shit, and makes you doubt everything. But it's all part of the mind's healing process, isn't it? To go through that. I'm not a crier. I just don't. I don't cry for some reason. But that being said, I think it's healthy for a man to be able to cry and let it out, and because that's your mind dealing with something. That's like emotion coming out, and your head's like dealing with it.
yeah.
That's how you get over things, isn't it?
Of course, you have to grieve, and you have to lean into grief. You can't fight it. You have to let it happen. I think I've not had to grieve, like you said. You're talking about the anniversary of your friend's passing. That's proper grief, and you just have to allow it, don't you? I
Yeah,
mean, if you don't want to talk about it, fine. But like grief as a concept, do you agree, given things you've been through, that the more you succumb to grief and just let it be, the better you heal from it, and perhaps even quicker, and then you come back stronger. You can't fight grief.
yeah. It's something. It's something that I'm still learning myself. I'm definitely fucking far off dealing with problems. Like I'm sure I know I've got a lot to learn, because I don't deal with problems in the best way. I mean, my way of dealing with things is probably going for a run, going to the gym or something. But then I will try and block things out.
Mm.
which is not good because it's always going to be there. So I struggle to, like I said, I don't I don't sit and boo my eyes out. Don't get me wrong, I did cry when my pal left me, but if I've got something going on, I will dwell and dwell and dwell. And I don't know if that's just because I'm an overthinker, but I'm definitely sure that there's other ways that I and other people can deal with things better, you know?
Well, you have to want to deal with it, or you have to have at least a modicum of interest in fixing yourself up. Because if you don't, you're done. Hard fact. You know, if we hadn't, at some point, you and I got sick of the lifestyle and the drinking and the sadness and the dependency, obviously, because we're both sober. So there must have been a breaking point for both of us. We're talking about, how does it not get to breaking point? How can a person intervene on themselves? Do you know what I mean? And that's fucking hard. And that's why so many people come back from rock bottom, because it's hard to, you know, if this is the bottom and you're slowly drifting towards it, the only thing that's, a lot of the time, the only thing that's going to jolt you out of it is actually hitting that bottom, isn't it? So how does a man not walk into the pub? Well, that man, first of all, or woman walks into the pub off license, whatever. That person has to want to fix themselves. And if you're listening and you want to fix yourself, my answer to your earlier question is connection, straight away, support, accountability. It's all the usual things we talk about, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's deep despair that you're feeling about any kind of non-drink related problem, you probably talk to someone about it, no, at some point.
Yeah.
So the same has to be said for alcoholism. You have to tell people that you're suffering.
Yeah.
That's got to be the first step. And with alcoholism, you have got AA. You and I, okay, you went further down the line for a very short period. I went right early on for 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and decided to go my own way. But I had support in the form of strangers that understood.
Yeah.
And that was enough at the beginning to stabilize me and think, oh, maybe I could do this. But you have to want to help yourself. Otherwise, you just drink yourself to death.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen to loads of people, and has happened and will and is doing so now. You know, people are going to
Yeah.
die
Yeah.
sad and lonely, but you have to not want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of misery can, well, mine a decade and a half almost, you know. It's no
Yeah,
fucking
man.
joke.
And what do you think? I've probably asked you this before, but what do you think people should do? So again, going back to this person that is his life's turned upside down. He's lost his job. He's at rock bottom. What would you do now if you was that person instead of going off the wagon and fucking yourself up with drinking?
Yeah, and like just going down the usual
Yeah,
habitual route.
because that's it, isn't it? Like a lot of this guy, a lot of his mates will be saying, "I'll just come to the pub," and he's feeling fucking weak anyway, or she's feeling weak. Not going to take much influencing.
None. That's the problem, isn't it? Come on, mate. You know, you're all right. And then suddenly you're down. You're done.
Are they there in the morning when you're fucked? No. You know what I mean? So
What is the solution? The solution, again, I think it's the same thing. I think it's support, connection, love, and at some point there has to be flirtation with acceptance. But I only think you can get that if you open up first. Do you know what I mean? I stopped drinking on a Tuesday. I went to my first AA on a Saturday. But even the phone call to AA on the Tuesday
yeah,
allowed me to delve into accepting it. Oh, I have 3 days now. I have to come to terms with this. This is a stark reality. And I'm going to go to an AA meeting. You know, to me, it sounded mental that I was actually going to go there when really I should have been going every week from the age of 20. Yeah.
I was buzzing about it. I was fucking buzzing about it. I wasn't scared. And I'm not saying this because I'm fucking big bollocks. I'm far from it. Do you know what I mean? But it just gave me this. Maybe it's, I don't know. I was 6 months sober already, but I was just buzzing. I was like, fucking hell! Like, I'm actually going to go to this thing where people are going to help me for free. Like, that's mad. And it was a relief to be able to think I'm actually going to be able to fucking talk to people like me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the best thing.
Well, there you go. You've answered your own question. I don't think I answered it very well, but when you say it like that, what would I recommend to someone that is in the pits of despair through drinking and their mental health's in bits? Just talk to someone. Because I recall those 3 days after I'd rung AA, even just ringing AA, an old boy, a guy from Florida answered the phone and he went, "Oh, I'm sorry, son, you've just missed today's meeting. We do Tuesdays and Saturdays." And even, I mean, I remember the call. I was just sat at a cafe. I remember how I felt when I put the phone down. I just felt lighter instantly, and I hadn't even done anything. You know, I'd made a mild commitment to myself that I was going to attend this thing on Saturday, and that in itself, that phone call changed my life
Yeah,
because I became accountable to myself. For 3 or 4 days, I tried to accept the fact that this really needed to happen, and I've never looked back.
yeah, it's amazing.
So fucking annoying that my whole 20s I didn't just walk into an AA meeting or ring my mum, and go, "Do you know what, mum? All of the things that you think of me, they're right. I do have a drink problem, and I am a mess, and I can't get my shit together. I need help." Like, you have to
Yeah,
just sit up
man.
and go, "Fucking help me, someone."
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
if you just admit it and allow people to help you, then you can help yourself. Then you can move forward. Then you can start creating the building blocks to get your life in gear again.
yeah.
And I really don't think, like, what are the other options? Going for a run, that's great, but what you need to do is talk first, so you feel motivated enough to go for a run or a power walk, or just
Exactly.
go for 4 hours in
That
nature
that
or
run
something.
that run lasts a half hour, 45 minutes, hour. It's fine, but it's, pardon the pun, running away from the problem, innit?
Yeah, it's fine to. I mean, running 3 times a week or whatever your exercise of
Fucking,
choice.
is this aimed at me, you little cunt?
Hey,
You said, is this aimed at me, you
not at
spiteful
all, not at
bastard?
all. No, like the running. These things just back up and support and aid the talking, don't they?
100%.
Like, remind me when you got your first week of being sober,
Yeah,
who did the only person you spoke to was the delivery driver at Deliveroo, wasn't it?
yeah.
You went into
That
like
was
lock.
fucking hard work.
You went into locked. Yeah, even that conversation was hard. Just like
Yeah, boy.
exchanging words. So
Yeah,
you were locked in your bedroom for
yeah,
more or
man.
less for a week. But who in that time did you speak to other than Uber drivers?
Ooh, I'm not the best example because I suffered hard.
Mm.
I suffered hard. I didn't, like you said, I white knuckled it. I didn't really want to talk to anyone. I done the wrong thing. I locked myself away from the world, and I didn't really want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to. I might have spoke to my dad, but I would have spoken to my brothers,
Mm-hmm.
100%. But I wouldn't have spoke to my mum. I don't think, just because she probably would have been sick to death of hearing me saying that I'm going to quit drinking and not. And I wouldn't blame. And that's the thing. I used to say I was going to fucking quit drinking all the time. Do you know what I mean? Every Monday I used to say I was going to quit drinking. So I didn't. I didn't actually bother. But I really started speaking when I was like a couple of weeks of no drink. Then people knew it was fucking serious. Do you know what I mean? Because before that I couldn't go a day without it. I'd done a day that was good.
Yeah.
So when I went a couple of weeks, that's when I would have started talking to my mates, being like, "Nah, trust me, I'm having a break. because I never thought I was going to quit drinking for good. I just wanted to have a detox, and then thought I'd get back on it.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be a
Yeah,
new
that's true. Yeah,
reinvention.
that was your intention, wasn't it? I remember now. Yeah, you were like, I
Yeah,
need a break, and the break became something.
yeah,
Became
yeah,
something. You know. So your intention was different. My intention, and that's probably why you went to AA after 6 months, whereas I was
yeah, exactly.
screaming for some intervention to save me.
Yeah, yeah. But another thing that I wanted to ask you is, this isn't just relevant for drinkers, but so for an example, for the people that haven't actually got, or they don't think they've got a huge drink problem, yeah, they might enjoy a drink, they might kind of potentially have a drink problem, but they're not dependent drinkers like us. You can when life hits you hard, you can easily go from a casual drinker to fucking dependent, need it, that's my coping mechanism drinker, real quick, can't you?
Oh yeah.
So what do you what things would you advise people to do, like activities wise, to keep them busy, or thought processes and things like that? What would you advise people to do instead of going to the pub? Because you've seen it before, haven't you, where a geezer's like got it all, or a woman's well looked after, they come across really well, blah blah blah, then something happens, next minute you're like, fucking hell, I've seen them in a pub 3 times.
Mm.
And you can see them, can't you, going downhill,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
think, and then before you know it, the pub has fucking consumed them and swallowed them and just left them skin.
Yeah.
It's left them skin. It's given them anxiety and depression and more trouble.
Yeah, to me, the ways, the things you have to implement into your life, thought processes and movement to get sober are, which is a great thing, really fucking simple and free and accessible, you know? Because if you're a heavy drinker, wrapped up in your own sadness and mental health issues that are created by drink, I guarantee if someone said, mate, why don't you just show a little bit of gratitude every morning? People are like, fuck off, mate. I don't have time for that shit, you know? That would have been my attitude. Gary, just be grateful for what you have. Fuck off. I
What
don't
have
have
I got?
anything. I'm
What have I
skin.
got? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got fuck all. So I would recommend the same things over and over again. Get out into nature, start meditating, write down or consider things that you're grateful for every day, and you can nip stuff in the bud quick. It's not as it doesn't have to be as dramatic and hellish as maybe we make it out to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way, you know.
Well, yeah. This is you try, or us trying to stop people from getting to that level.
Yeah, yeah,
So what? Yeah, because I always think there's a lack of things to do. That's what I always used to think. There is a lack of things to do. Why do you always go to the pub all the time? Well, what the fuck else is there to do? That's what I used to think. Seriously.
paddleboarding, kayaking, hiking, going wild camping. What is there to do? There's museums, there's poetry slam nights, there's literally everything in the world except drinking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 You know, I agree. I agree.
What is there? Oh, there's nothing to do. Really? Do you know what? I was listening to one of our episodes back in the car a couple of days ago, and we talked about this. What is there to do? Everything in the world apart from drinking. Everything that other people do that don't
Yeah.
have an alcohol problem. You know, getting things off your chest, being honest with others and yourself, and taking very simple steps like gratitude and affirmations, talking positively to yourself. People might think that's woo-woo nonsense, but it's proven to have a significant impact, positive impact on your mental health.
So, so for those listeners, your quote, if you're listening,
If you're listening.
Instead of going to the pub, get out in nature. Even if you think, no, I'm too cool for that, blah, blah, blah. Get out in nature. Self-gratitude.
Yeah, well, you know,
What?
like it's very. But if you've got a drinking problem, you tend to feel sorry for yourself a lot, don't you?
Yeah, victim
So
of
you don't
life.
actually take stock that you've got loving parents, perhaps, you know, maybe one, maybe two, you know. You might have siblings that care about you, got a roof over your head. Maybe not in your case for a while and halfway out. But you've got a roof over your head, you've got clothes on your back, you've got food in your belly.
Yeah, man.
It's a fucking good starting point, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
But the self-pity, it's going back to the self-pitying thing. Oh, everything's dreadful. Everything's not my fault. I don't have anything. I'm a loser. Yeah, maybe you are a fucking loser because you know that's brutal and it maybe counterintuitive. But you know, shape up at some point. You have to shape up.
Well, you are what you're acting like. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Maybe you're not an actual loser. You've got a lot of potential, but you're acting like a loser and you're acting like a coward and you're doing the cowardly thing by not facing adversity.
Yeah,
You're being a coward and you're fucking having a drink and acting like you're Biggie Big Bollocks. We know you're not. You're struggling, and that's fine. We all
it's
fucking
okay.
struggle. I've
Yeah.
struggled like fuck. I've been having bad times lately. Do you know what I mean? A
Hmm.
lot of stress going on. A lot of fucking stress. A lot of shit. A lot of self doubt. Blah blah blah. But one thing I do know is that it will pass. And if we keep doing the right things, it will be fine. But if I had a drink, fuck me. That would be bad. That would be fucking bad. Like that could be the last. You know what I mean? Me
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah,
Could be,
yeah.
man. Could be. Mate, if I had a drink now, genuinely wouldn't know what the fuck to do.
I reckon if I had a drink today, I'd go on a 5 or 6 day bender. I really think that. I don't think I'd be able to stop myself from when I start. I think you were like me. First drink, alcoholic. Oh, that's it. That's the solution, and it would rip through me like I don't know, just a bolt of lightning. I'd be like, ah.
Yeah.
And then the second the first one is finished, there is absolutely no way I'm not ordering a second one. And I've been sober for 10.5 years. And I know that. You know, my life would be fucked in no time.
Imagine if me and you just went fuck it. If we just both said like, what fuck it. Do you just want to go to the pub?
Oh my God. Jesus wept.
We have a good night.
I mean, I'm going to close this blind because it's pissing me off. Yeah, we'd have a good night, but the next day, God,
Oh mate, it would be so fucking bad.
God, it'd be horrible.
It
Like,
would be so.
oh man, I sometimes think that people don't realize it doesn't have to be complicated. It's hard, you know, but it's simple. It's getting sober, isn't it? Once you've had enough sobriety, we're talking about methods how to get sober, but it's also methods on how to, you know, preserve your mental health and improve it. Getting
Yeah.
sober is really simple. You just have to be consistent and apply certain techniques and do certain things every day to make your mind strong enough to be strong enough to not drink every day.
Yeah, man.
I can only talk from experience, but I know that I did 7 or 8 things every single day for 3 or 4 years, and then I was fixed.
Yeah.
Obviously, after 12 months, I was in a lot better shape than I'd been in previously.
Yeah.
And I just kept on doing it, kept on doing it, kept waking up early, kept having a cold shower, kept meditating, kept writing down why I felt fortunate. I was a person in a fortunate position in the world. And I just consistently applied all that and refused not to. And then the work was done. Didn't need to do any more work. I don't need to work on getting staying sober. Some people that have been sober for 10 years might have to. I don't. Because maybe,
No.
and I'm not judging anyone, I'm speculating, but maybe those are the people that go to AA on a Monday and a Thursday and they just hang on for dear life in the middle. But I did the fucking work. Putting hours and hours and days and months and years of the good work.
Yeah. I think, but I also think subconsciously, maybe subconsciously, we do still do the work because of the way that we live our lives now. So for people that go to AA after 20 years and still need to go, I think that's amazing because they have showed so much fucking consistency and determination. I think fair fucking play. Do you know what I mean? Like, and especially the ones that like volunteer and that, and they do it all for free. I think that's amazing. But I also feel like there will be things that I do in my own time that does the same thing. So if I stopped training, that's the work that I do to stay sober. But I do it because I enjoy it. I don't train just to stay sober, but that's what keeps me sane. You know, that's what keeps me. That's like my antidepressant. It's everything. It's a big, big thing in my life. Probably the biggest thing in my life. And without it, I would be absolutely fucked, and I would probably want a drink. Whereas if people haven't got as many hobbies, maybe AA is that hobby for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like you need to fucking sign your life away to AA or anything like that. If you want to, cool, but you don't have to. But you need to find. I think it's really important that you find a purpose in life, and because without a purpose, you've got nothing. And if you're just gonna play the victim and fucking moping around at the pub, skivvying beers of people, no purpose. But if you then think, do you know what? Deep, I know, but I was born for more than this. Surely I was born for more than this. And start valuing yourself and try and do yourself proud, and then other people become proud of you. And fucking turn it around.
Snowball effect, isn't it? It's the Joe Rogan be the hero of your own movie.
Yeah, man.
There is nothing more beautiful than a person that turns their life around through consistency and determination. Like everyone, this whole topic of motivation is great, but it's nothing if you're not disciplined. The discipline of sobriety becomes enjoyable, I've found.
Yeah, it's a challenge, isn't it?
Oh, my mental health's improving. I'm prouder of myself than I was 6 months ago. I can see my dick in the shower because I'm not a fat arsehole. You know.
Right, sorry, bro.
It's all right. But there has to be a commitment to improving your mental health. Now, look, I'm not here talking about people who aren't alcoholics that have deep-rooted mental health issues. I can't possibly help people like that, I don't think. People in that predicament. That's for specialists and professionals. But do you know what I mean? We're talking about alcoholism and how it affects your mental health, and sobriety and how it improves your mental health. I can help you on that front. I can tell you what worked for me. And do you know why it worked for me? Because it worked for you and it worked for other people, because that's how it works.
Yeah.
If you get 100 people in a room that have been sober for 2, 3, 4 and more years, I guarantee there'll be massive similarities in their lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
A 26-year-old lad who likes doing coke on a Saturday afternoon and going out, getting smashed, chasing girls, antagonizing people, being a fucking bellend. Oh, mate, what you need to do is you need to open your heart and you need to write things you're grateful for. Fuck off, mate. No. That's what you have to do. That's it. It's not that. That's not it. But it is.
Yeah.
If someone comes away from the end of this episode and said, "Oh, maybe it doesn't have to be as hard as I think it does," ace.
Exactly.
So the root of my mental health problems that might be booze, because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, like how fucking dumb were we? We weren't dumb. We were alcoholics. So of course we didn't see it.
Naive fuckers.
And that's our service is to inform people that there's a guy who always comments on my posts, and I tried to remember how he described it the other week on one of our episodes, but I remembered it. He said, "Gary, you're a tell it like it is service."
Yeah.
And that hit me for a few days. I was like, whoa, that's what it is. I'm brave enough to go on the internet and, well, we are. I mean, look how fucking brave we are to talk about this kind of shit when our mums listen to it. You know, this is no joke what we do. You know,
Yeah.
it's almost a bit of an emotional burden. Every time an episode goes out, I'm like, can I text
It
my mum
is,
and tell her
man.
not to listen to this one?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not easy to show up every week on the internet and pour your fucking emotional heart out and tell people how to improve their lives. It's hard.
No,
You
you're
know,
right. Yeah.
and judgment and people that disagree, whatever. But going off on a tangent here, but it doesn't have to be as fucking complicated as you think.
The reason why you're so passionate about it and I'm passionate about it, like this is the last thing I thought I'd ever do. Like my mates now are probably still thinking, what the fuck is Craig up to? Like, has he done a load of shrooms and just fucking lost his nut or something? But it's honestly because I know how fucking bad it was. Like, this isn't a sob story by any means of the imagination, but genuinely couldn't be fucked to be alive. Generally couldn't, because life was fucking poor. It was so shit, so bad. And the fact that I now feel like I've got a second chance, my anxiety is bearable. I can deal with things. I have problems, and I know it's normal now, and I can actually deal with things like a normal human being. Why would I not want to share that with other people?
Yeah.
Because it can be so valuable to some people. And I just know that booze for some of us can be a great thing, and it can be sweet. You can have a good time. You can not go overboard. But for the ones of us that are questioning and thinking, what the fuck does it ruin my fucking life every weekend? I can assure you, if you cut it out, it will be the best thing you ever do.
Without a doubt, man. So the poison that you drink every day, if I stop doing that, my life will be better. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it will be. You know, what about because we're talking about the kind of build up to, you know, the long term mental health issues that come from alcoholism, and then the how to break that cycle. But like, how is your mental health compared to 4 years ago? Now, today, as a person that has a podcast about sobriety, works in fitness, and how you've turned your life around so dramatically in 2 years. How does it compare? Because you're an interesting person, because you do still suffer from anxiety. I don't.
Yeah,
You
I
know what I
get a bit
mean?
of anxiety.
I get anxious about things like bills because I've got a family, whatnot. But I'm not like crippled by it. So as someone, because I think you have anxiety. Fact is what it is. I don't.
Stop setting me off.
I'm a crier. I nearly cried a minute ago when you said about how you turned your life around. But it's important, the upturn in your mental health since you got
Yeah.
sober. How does it differ?
Honest, in words, it's pretty. I couldn't really think of the words, but it's it's just a complete different life. Complete different life. I think I've always had anxiety. Fuck knows why. You know, you go therapy and they're like, "What's the root cause?" God knows why. It could be anything. It could be something from childhood. Blah blah blah. Whatever. So I think I'll always have it a little bit, but it's bearable. It doesn't hold me back from anything. If I tell you that when I was in my darkest days, I would literally have to drink to do absolutely anything, any task. To work, I'd have to drink. To get my hair cut, I'd have to drink.
Yeah.
To eat, sometimes I'd have to drink. To do absolutely anything, because otherwise I'd feel like I'm going to have a panic attack. And I'd have panic attacks all the fucking time unless I had a drink. Or if I was having one, I'd need to have a drink. Then, now, I'm not saying I'm fucking... You there?
Yeah.
Yeah, now
Sorry.
I'm not saying I'm God's fucking gift or anything, but I've gone 2 years without drinking. I've changed my career. I've ran a half marathon. I've got a marathon booked next year. I've climbed mountains. I've done quite a lot of shit. A lot. I've done more stuff in 2 years than what I would have done in 10 years of drinking, put it that way.
Yeah, wow. Same.
I can just deal with things now.
Yeah.
Life is better. I don't know what more to say, but
what more can you say? You know,
it's a complete different life, put it that way.
it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's inspiring.
Don't get me wrong, still have tough days, but who doesn't?
Yeah,
Everyone
but that's just
does.
life, isn't it? Like people need to, but like you say, you're able to cope with it and deal with it and manage it.
Yeah.
Because that's what people do. Like people manage their like stresses, but without alcohol, like 90% of the world's managed to do that. You know.
No, exactly. And like I said, one day you might have financial problems. One day you might have something wrong with a relationship. One day something might happen with your health. There's always going to be something, but you need to get it into your head that there's always going to be something. Life isn't like the movies where you fucking... It's not.
Oh,
But
I've reached
that's
this level. That's it now. It's great.
Yeah. And we're always wondering, why can't I get rid of this anxiety? Why can't I get rid of this depression? Why can't I blah, blah, blah? It might always be there, but you just learn to deal with it. And I know that sounds scary, but it's just because we're human.
Yeah. What's scarier though? A pit of misery in your stomach 24 hours a day for another decade.
What's scarier, mate, is fucking going out on a Friday night, getting out your head, spending all your money on coke and booze, and then spending the rest of your money on takeaways the next day that you can't eat. Your room's fucking smelling like an Indian restaurant, mate, and
death.
and just rolling around in your fucking pit all day, all weekend, with empty beer cans everywhere. I think that's worse.
But why is my mental health in bad shape? Where does this come from?
Yeah, mate. Well,
I hope we've inspired some people to realise that it doesn't have to be as complicated, and so much can be solved by removing the booze. Simple as that, isn't it?
man.
Should we leave it there?
100%.
Lovely, nice. As usual, everyone, we are at the Sober Stretch. You can find us on Instagram. Episodes come out on YouTube and Spotify at 3 p.m. on Sundays, unless Gary has man flu like he did last week. Apologies if we didn't do an episode. I am at SoberNSound on Instagram, sober letter and sound, all things boozing, alcoholism and sobriety related. Craig?
I'm at live without limits _ coaching, and I'm a personal trainer now, believe it or not, from fucking fat drug addict alcoholic to an exercise fucking obsessed weirdo. So yeah, that's me.
Fucking legend. Nice one. Sound. Thank you very
Christy,
much.
enjoyed it.
Have a good weekend. So did
Catch
I.
you later. And you,
Take
my
care,
man.
bro.
Adios.
Ciao.
Bye.